さすが絵だポッドキャスト
Hello and welcome to Sasuga Ada's monthly podcast where I answer questions, provide a space for you to share your creativity, and let you guys in on what I'm working on this month. You can submit Q&A questions, your headcanons, and any additional messages to me via email or fill out the headcanon submission Google spreadsheet linked in the description. Please read the instructions regarding the template of the email and spreadsheet. If you have any further questions, you can click on my January podcast linked in the description as well and go to the end where I walk you through on how to submit your headcanon and questions. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into business.
皆さんのマイ設定シェアリングタイム
So instead of going through questions first and then headcanons and then messages like I did last month, for this month I feel like I just want to kind of go over every submission as it is, like every person. So like for this month it will be just this person and then their headcanon, their question if they have any, their message if they have any, and then next person, headcanons, questions, and then so on and on and on, just like that. So yeah, we're gonna get started and let's get straight to that. So our first submission is by a pretty cool person. Hi, a pretty cool person, and you're submitting a headcanon for the anime BNHA, and the character is Hawks. And your headcanon is he takes YN or whatever on a nice like date to the beach or something. I don't know, I just want a headcanon with Hawks because I'm a simp. Cool. I think Hawks definitely will take listener YN to beaches, mountains, and he would definitely take them to all sorts of places for dates. And I think one of my favorite that I think he would definitely do is taking YN on like a midnight flight straight up into Tokyo Tower, and then kind of like he will like put them on the tip and then let go and then kind of just like hover in the air like a good distance away and just watch YN kind of just like struggle to hang on and not fall down because and you know just like tease them a little, and that's kind of like my favorite Hawks kind of thing. And then but a nice little walk on the beach is also something that I personally think is really romantic, and I would really like that from Hawks. So yeah, thank you so much for the headcanon submission. Next we have Sanrio. Hi Sanrio. And then the anime that you're submitting a headcanon for is Skate the Infinity, and for character Deki. And something about Skate Infinity, kind of a side note, is that I am in the middle of watching it. I think I'm on like episode 6 or something. And honestly, I have nothing but good things to say about this anime. It gives me very heavy Yuri on Ice vibes. Not because it's like, so it's very different. Okay, it's very different. But it's kind of like, you know how there was that time where sports animes starting with like Free came out, and then it's just kind of like brings this little like homosexuality, brotherly love thing into the sports anime genre. And just when I thought sports anime couldn't get gayer, Adam appears. And it's just like, yeah, okay, that's just a side note. But yes, going back to the headcanon, Reki and you will switch comforting each other. Like one moment you will be sobbing to him while he hugs you, and the next he will be sobbing while you hug him, and you guys will kind of just fall asleep on each other's arms. Aww, that is so sweet. Yeah, I think that's definitely something. I think like, because I'm in the middle of watching Skate the Infinity, and Reki's just like a really wholesome and nice character, and I can totally see him being very supportive and trying to comfort you. But then also I feel like he also has like a lot of insecurity in himself, and definitely when he's with Ranga, I can see that he doesn't feel as talented as Ranga, and that's something inside him that he doesn't really want to express. But I feel like it's definitely there, like that insecurity, and I think he will definitely need someone to comfort him on that, and this is really cute. And I see that you don't have any questions. And for messages, you said, "You're such an amazing creator on YouTube, and your voice is always so sweet, and it calms me down after a rough day." Oh, thank you. You know, something about my voice is that I never really thought much about it. I always thought, because my parents growing up always told me that I have kind of like a high-pitched voice, and even after puberty, my voice was still very high. And then it's like sometimes the way I talk to people is like when I talk to like strangers, I tend to raise the pitch of my voice a little as well to sound more soothing and calming and just nicer. And usually when I lower my tone, it's with like really, really close friends. So when I'm doing my videos, because it's like my target audience are to strangers, I tend to, you know, raise my pitch a little, but not like so much, you know. This is right now I'm talking in my like comfort pitch. So thank you. And I never really thought of my voice as something that could soothe others, and this is like a nice surprise to me. And I'm really glad that you guys enjoy my voice, you know, it comforts me a lot. And next we have Makima wife for Bleach, and then the character is Ichigo. Okay, an honest confession from me is that I actually never watched Bleach. Rather, it's like I watched like maybe like a few episodes, but I never really got that into it. Maybe it's because at the time I was watching Naruto, and then I was just like super into Naruto, and then I just kind of rejected Bleach and One Piece at that time, you know, because they were like the big three, and I was in like elementary and middle school-ish, so I was still pretty young. And I just like later on in high school I got into One Piece, but Bleach I just probably never like went back for it. So I'm not really sure about Ichigo because I don't know much about him, but I'm very excited to read your headcanon. And your headcanon is: Ichigo is over the top protective over you while you are dealing with his hollows. He will literally grab you and throw you behind him because he doesn't want you to get hurt. But when you and Ichigo aren't, you guys would spend your free time giving each other love notes during class, and sometimes you both would usually get caught and the teacher would read the note out loud, oh no, in front of the class, or even if he's still in school. And Ichigo will always be with you making sure no one would be able to lay a finger on you without his approval. You mean approval. This is actually really cute. I do know that in Bleach, even though I haven't really watched it, I do know they keep on switching between like the real world and like the whatchamacallit. I think they're like the Shinigami, I think. They're like death gods. Is that what they are? Sorry if I'm wrong. Like I do know that they keep on switching between like the two worlds. And so that is really cute. It's like to see that you guys will be fighting together, and then also sending love notes to each other in class. And that would be so embarrassing if the teacher caught you. Like I would be so embarrassed. Like I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I'm not the kind of person who really likes to talk or write really sappy things to a real life person. Like it's different when it comes to like anime people because they're fake, but when it comes to like real life people, I don't like saying really sappy things to them. And if other people say like really sappy things to me, I kind of want to keep that really personal. I would hate for people to like know what's going on between us, and that's just so embarrassing. It's just kind of like, and if I ever write anything sappy, I do not want other people to know that I wrote this, you know, to that person. It would embarrass the shit out of me. And then the question from Makima Wife is, who is your favorite character from other animes? Oh god. You know, I've watched too many animes, and have way too many favorite characters, but I'll just like name like a few. And honestly, for a lot of animes, it's like really hard to pick favorites because, you know, for example, in Haikyuu, I've already mentioned this in like my previous podcast, is like it's so hard to pick a favorite character from Haikyuu because they're all just amazing characters. And a few of my favorites from Haikyuu are Iwaizumi, Oikawa, Kuro, Bokuto, Akashi, Nishinoya, just to list a few out of a ton. And then from Hunter x Hunter, you know, which is an anime that people keep on asking me to make headcanons for, my favorite character is Killua. You know, I'm very basic. From let's see. And then from Naruto, actually, I'm not gonna answer for Naruto because I feel like I vaguely remembered that someone else has a question about Naruto, so I'm gonna answer that like my favorite character when we get to there. Let's see, from Assassination Classroom, it's Karma, obviously. And let's see, who else? What other animes have I watched that you guys would probably care about? So from Free, oh god, who's calling me? No, random number, decline. From Free, I think it would definitely be Haru, the main character. And then let me actually think about this, because like recently I have not been watching a lot of new animes. Also Levi from Attack on Titan. Let's see, and then from Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is really hard to pick a favorite character too, because they're all so nice and wholesome. But I think for Demon Slayer, my favorite character would probably be Sabito. It would, yeah. Even though Sabito had like, you know, only one episode of screen time, he definitely ranks top as my favorite character of the entire show. Let's see, what else? Let me think. Some animes. Oh, recently I've been watching Rust Eater and I really like Bisco from there. And then from Tokyo Revengers, you guys all know that my favorite is Mikey. I also really like Mitsuya, but Mikey definitely ranks top of my favorite. And okay, enough of this question. Let's move on to your message. And honestly, it's so hard to list them on the top of my head, you know, because it's just like, it's just not something you really think about every day, you know. They kind of just, you like this character and you like them, and then it's just like, yeah. And plus it's so hard for me to like think back. It's like, what have I watched? Because there's just so many. Okay, moving on to your message. I love your voice and your videos. I'm honestly horrible at headcanon and barely even finished Bleach. I only know a few things about the show, so I hope you can make my headcanon better if you could. Lol, love you and be safe. Also, sorry for my comment. I know it's a big one. No, your comment is fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. And honestly, I wish I could make your headcanon so-called better. Yours is great, by the way. Yours is great. I don't think I can make it better. But even if I could, you know, adapt onto the headcanon, I can't because I also have not watched Bleach. You know. But yes, thank you so much for submitting, and I hope you submit more. And don't worry, your headcanon is great. This is like, you know, I've definitely mentioned before, you know, some things that people submit to me, you can't really call it a headcanon. It's more like a situation. But this is a perfect headcanon because the basis of a headcanon is what he would do in a certain situation, and I think you did a really good job with this headcanon. And it's totally fine if you guys want to send me situations, but if you aren't going to send me situations, you know, I hope you guys can open an end, put an end to it, you know, don't kind of leave me in the middle of it, right? So yeah, if you're going to send me a situation, send me something full. Alright, next submission is from Just a Person. What is up with these names, guys? Just a Person, okay. Hi, Just a Person, and you're submitting for MHA, and then the character is Aizawa. Oh my god, I love Aizawa. I feel like I have done not enough headcanons for him. But okay, so I'm really excited to see what you have. He comes home after a long day of work and Aizawa and Wyan fall asleep on the couch together. Yes! Or in the sleeping bag. I feel like Aizawa definitely cannot get enough sleep. So every time he comes home, he definitely would just like kind of like grab you and then kind of throw you guys on the couch and then just like make you guys sleep together. And sometimes, you know, he would drag you into the sleeping bag, and you know, I feel like he's the kind of boyfriend that would just, and husband, who literally just does nothing but sleep and make you sleep with him. And like, it's not even like sexy, it's just sleep. But yeah, it's really cute. Thank you so much. And moving on, we have our next submission from Joe. Hi Joe. So you're submitting for MHA Bakugo. Yes, my favorite character. Cause you can. Yes, of course you can. Okay, Fluffy. Whenever he's mad, he'll just push you down on the bed and cuddle. Yes, he would. Spicy version. He'll do the same thing and do the forbidden dance. Ooh, the forbidden dance. Okay, I never hear you do aftercare headcanon, so I made some for Boom Boom Boy. Yes, aftercare. Yes, please. After the stuff, yes, the stuff, he'll have a bath with you and sometimes leading to round 2. Yes, that's actually a headcanon that I have too. But I, you know, sometimes, you know, you guys all know that I don't like to put a lot of Bakugo headcanons out there, mainly because I do write a fanfiction for him, so they're kind of all in my fanfiction. Anyways, moving on to yours. If he's tired and you wake him up, he'll just kind of be like, "Come here, dumbass," and kiss your forehead. Oh yes, my heart. Yes, I'm totally like imagining this right now. After, you'll usually end up watching a movie and pig out on ice cream. Okay, last one. This man goes to bed at 9 p.m. every night, so you're just up, can't sleep, like scrolling through TikTok, and your phone accidentally wakes him up. Oh no. You're scared for your life, but this man will yeet your phone across the room and says no more phone until you sleep, and grabs you and forces you down, and you eventually fall asleep in his arms. That is so cute, and it is very accurate. He does sleep at 9 p.m. every day, and I do see him kind of like forcing you to go to bed at this, like, you know, with him. And yeah, it's just, this is all really cute and I really like it. Okay, next one is Felicia. Thank you, Felicia, for your submission, and you're also submitting for Bakugo. Yay! This is a situation. Sorry. No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I love situations. Just make sure, you know, it's good, and good as in it's complete, right? Don't leave me hanging. You know? Okay? So, hopefully, cross my fingers that you won't leave me hanging. Okay. Just imagine Bakugo throws a party for you and like invites a lot of friends just to enjoy. Okay, Bakugo. I don't see him as a party thrower, but this is getting somewhere. I'm getting excited. So y'all are just talking and stuff. Then Bakubro sees you talking way too comfortably with the person. I wonder who. Okay, he just gets really annoyed, as he should. So then he basically just walks towards you and like makes it clear that you are like his girl. Like he holds your waist, kisses your cheek, and sways you a little. Ooh. And then just like introduces himself with a smirk as your boyfriend. You're like weirded out and just embarrassed and confused, like why is he acting like this? So you like just say, "Oh yeah, this is Bakugo, the guy I told you about." Then you look at him and makes eye contact and says with a stern face, "Bakugo, this is my brother." Oh my god. Yes. Then he just is very uneasy now because his first impression with your brother is just weird. Oh god. Now this is really This is really good, and the thing is, it's like it's all the more enjoyable for me because I actually have a brother. Um, and something. So I really, really like this, and I know how a lot of people like to see Bakugo as this really protective guy who, you know, would like get all handsy and then kind of like mark his territory when he sees you with like other guys. In my head, though, however, it's like that is a thing, but I see him as a less kind of touchy guy. I feel like for him, like my version of Bakugo, like in my head, I see him as the kind of guy that is protective but doesn't really like for other people to see it. You know, he doesn't want other people to see that he's like overly attached to you, and so when he's like with other people, I feel like he'll be less touchy. But I also do like, you know, the publicly touching and like marking you as his kind of thing that people also think about. Just like in my head, that's like not really a Bakugo thing to do, but I definitely am all for it, you know. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of like, because you know, when I make headcanons, like I like overanalyze characters, you know. I kind of go into their head and then I'm like, if I were them, and I imagine myself as them a lot, you know, and I kind of like just go deep and dive myself into their head, which, you know, I might not always be accurate, right? But it's just like sometimes I have my own interpretation, other people have their interpretation, but I definitely love other people's interpretation. My version is probably different, but I just love reading other people's headcanons for them. So, and this is honestly amazing. Amazing situation, and you did not leave me hanging. I loved it. Like, give me more next time, you know. Like, don't just give me one, you know. You can submit multiple, like, right? I want more of your situations. These situations are great. I love it. Okay, and then we also have a question and a message from Felicia. So the question is, will you make the Bakugo book public? If yes, then through what platform? Which book are you talking about? Let me read your message to see if I can. I know you said you're working on a book of headcanons for him, but I just can't wait. I'm sorry, I just can't take the wait. Okay, I see what you mean. You know how when I made my fluffy headcanons, I said I had like, you know, I wrote a fanfiction for him, and it's kind of like a book of headcanons. Well, that's really the already published. I'm talking about Fight Me, Protect Me, Love Me, which is my adult Bakugo x adult OC kind of story, which takes place in when Bakugo is like 20 years old, and then it kind of moves on to when he's like 21-ish, and then the OC is like in college. So when I say it's like a book of headcanons, it means like I kind of like put all of my like relationship headcanon stories, I put all of my Bakugo relationship headcanons into this story. So it's like everything Bakugo does in this story is like a headcanon that I have of him. Like he would do this, he would do that, and then I actually make him do it in this story. And honestly, the story is so long, and I'm still working on it. It's still like nowhere near finished. And I haven't been able to work on it as much lately because of work and drawing. You know, I kind of got a little bit of a writer's block, and then, you know, whenever I have a writer's block, I would kind of like revert to drawing, and then whenever I have an art block, I would go back to writing. And so right now I'm kind of in my art phase, and so I haven't been able to write as much, but I'm hoping to come out of that block and just write more. And mainly it's not even that big of a writer's block. It's just like I'm in that phase where I know what's going to happen and I know what happened, you know, but it's just like I'm trying, but like in between, trying to link the part that right now that happened to what I know is going to happen is like that little detail in between. I'm still having trouble making that up. And so yeah, that's usually what happens to me with like these writer's blocks, and I'm trying to just like get over that right now. But yeah, that book is published. You can find it on Wattpad, Quotev, fanfiction.net, AO3. It's all linked in my link tree, which is also in the description. yeah, so thank you, and please read that. And also I have this other Bakugo fanfic that's like X-Reader, which I'm really proud of. It's only like 4 chapters and it's fantasy AU. It's called Sunflower and White Rose. That one I put a lot of work into that, even though it's only like 4 chapters, but mainly it's because like it was a lot of world building for me, you know, because fantasy AU, even though I kind of like the art and all of that is all the images that I have of them is all based off of the official art, but everything, the setting, the kind of like environment, the society and the culture, all of that is like made up. So I did put a lot of work into that, and yeah, and I'm really proud of that. And that one actually does not have a lot of views, which makes me really sad, but I hope you guys can give that a read. Okay, next submission is from Claire. Hi Claire. And the headcanon is for Naruto Kakashi. Oh wait, the headcanon, I don't really have one. Oh, okay, so you don't really have one. That's fine. But you do have a question. Okay, let me read your question. Your favorite Naruto character, including Shippuden, of course. My favorite Naruto character is Gaara. I love Gaara. Like, he is my first love, first crush. I also really like Neji. Neji is definitely my first favorite character ever, like in any anime, right? Neji was like my first favorite character ever. And I feel like this says a lot about me because I like bad characters turn good. You know, every character that started off bad but then kind of had this like you know, kind of like a redemption arc. You know, I'm like a sucker for redemption characters. Neji, first character in Naruto to redeem himself, and then Gaara was like the second. But like I feel like Gaara kind of like hit me a little more, mainly because he has like red hair and I'm a sucker for redheads in anime. Neji is definitely more like, I see him like a brother-ish kind of guy, and then Gaara is like lover, you know. It's like Gaara is like my first love, and then Neji is just like the kind of guy in the anime that I'm just like, yes, I want him to be my brother. I want him to be my family member. I would give him a hug, you know. So yeah, these are my 2 favorite in Naruto's. And then I also really like Kakashi. I feel like Kakashi definitely also hit me with that like backstory arc of his, and just, you know, because when I started Naruto I was only like 10, so at the time, you know, I felt more attached to the younger characters, and then but it was like gradually as I started growing older, you know, like now like in my late teens, which is when Naruto finished, that I started to feel a little something for Kakashi. And now it's just like Kakashi is slowly creeping his way into my life, and then Gaara will forever be on the top, but Kakashi he is a great competition for Gaara right now. Okay, and your message is, I know you wait, no, never mind. Your message is, sorry, reading the wrong. Your message is, can you do a headcanon for him? For Kakashi? Ooh. Actually, you know, because oh god, this is so embarrassing to admit. So my first ever fanfic that I wrote is for Gaara. And then I wrote one for Kakashi. And I don't... Oh god. I'm just like trying to... So I wrote this on Quoteb and I was, you know, pretty young. The Kakashi one I wrote when I was in like middle high school-ish, like early high school, not even like late high school. Late high school is like when I started writing for Akashi from Kuroko no Basket. Like early middle high school is when I was writing this Kakashi fanfic that was like based in like Kakashi's point of view. So I was writing in Kakashi's point of view and then telling his love story from his side of the story, instead of what most people did, which is tell it either from a third person point of view, second person point of view, or even the first person point of view of the reader or the OC. But I wrote this in Kakashi's point of view, and that story, honestly, I'm still pretty proud of it, but right now, like, when I look back to it, a lot of the writing is like shit, you know? Like, I still really am proud of the storytelling and stuff of it, but, you know, it's just kind of embarrassing for people to read it now because it was so bad. Okay, and that story does have a lot of my, like, kind of like headcanons, like my thoughts about Kakashi in it, and I'm just trying to recall a few things about Kakashi. And so I think my idea of Kakashi is that he is the kind of guy that would try to make you love him, and like he's the kind of guy that probably won't confess until either like he knows that you love him, or that, like, you know, he is desperately in need of you to love him. And I feel like that desperation doesn't usually comes for your sake. So for example, like, you're desperately hurt by someone else, which is basically what happened in my fanfiction. It was like the main character was hurt because the guy she loved died. And anyways, and then Kakashi just like wants her to like forget about the other guy, and so he like desperately confesses like, it loved me, you know, which I feel like I do this a lot, because you can definitely see that in my Bakugo Kirishima story. I did that as well, you know. It's like I kind of see Kakashi and Bakugo as very similar characters in that they do have a lot of pride, and at least I feel like this is because I'm talking mainly about like teenage Kakashi, like in his late teens, right? I feel like adult Kakashi is a little bit different. I feel like he would be a little bit more laid back, like in his like late 20s. I feel like he would definitely be more laid back about this whole love thing, but I'm talking more about like late teens Kakashi, which is what I wrote the fan fiction for. Yeah, and I think honestly, just characters with a lot of trauma is just like, ugh, you know. they get to me, and you know, yeah, but I think Kakashi is also very perverted, obviously, and I think he is very good in bed. There's literally like nothing else nothing I need to say for this guy. You know, you guys would all know that he's definitely great in bed, and I don't see him as a very romantic kind of guy. I feel like he's the kind of guy where, like, on Valentine's Day, like, Valentine's Day will come, you wake up, and then you ask him, don't you have something to say to me today? And he'd be like, today's like the 14th, and you're like, and he'd be like, oh, happy Mother's Day. Yeah, he'd be that kind of guy. He'd be that kind of guy. Yeah. Okay. I think next one from Felicia again. Hi, Felicia. And this time you have another message. Okay, thank you. And then your message is, I really love your videos. I like your voice, it's so calming, and I just want to thank you for putting so much work into these videos. It just puts a huge smile on my face. Thanks again. Stay healthy and stay safe and keep up with the epic work. Thank you so much. I mentioned this in like a community post on YouTube a few days ago, but I did fall down the stairs. That was so bad. The thing is, we have wooden stairs at my house, and I was wearing these fluffy shoes, kind of like, they do have like grippers on the bottom, but like they're really old, like worn out, so the grippers aren't like sticky anymore. And then I just kind of like slid down the stairs, and then I hit my back and I hit my elbow. My elbow's so bruised right now, and my back is like bruised too, but it's like a little bit better. Not great. It still kind of hurts, but I'm doing fine. I can still work. So, and I can obviously still draw, still talk. So all's good, you know. No serious injury. But thank you guys so much for, you know, being worried about me. So yeah, Thanks so much. And then let's move on to our next submission. Next submission is from Scully Cakes. Hi Scully Cakes, and I really like her. We talked in my DMs on Instagram, and you guys can definitely message me on either Instagram or does Twitter even have DMs? If it does, I have never used it. Yeah, but like you guys feel free to message me, and if I have time, I'll definitely message back. Okay. Scully Cakes has a headcanon for Inumaki Toge from Jujutsu Kaisen, and the headcanon is he uses his cursed speech for more than battle commands. Of course he does! He uses his cursed speech in the bedroom during spicy moments. See, that's the thing about Toge. Toge is like that character is like, at first you look at him, it's like, oh, so cute. And then when you think about his power, you're like, holy shit. Think about all the things he could do with that power of his. He'd be like, oh, I'm trying to keep this like as PG as possible, but that's obviously not possible because this is an NSFW channel in the first place. Anyways, so he'd be like, come, and then you would come. Like, there's like no doubt about it, He'd be like, raise your legs. I was like, raise my legs. It's like things that he could do. He has like way too much power, and I feel so robbed by the fact that I can't see him in the canon, work. Use that power in the bedroom. Like, I feel really robbed, and this is something that it's quite obvious. So thanks Scully, thanks. Thanks for reminding me of his power. And you have another message that says, thanks for chatting with me. You're welcome. Thank you for chatting with me too. And liking my Bakugo and Kane fusion idea. Yes, and I still need to do it. I'm sorry I'm taking so long. Like, I still need to do that. It's been like over a month, and I still need to draw that. But, it's like the Kane... Honestly, I can see the appeal for Kane. But like, that horn on his head though. Like... From the side view, it looks okay. But when you look at the front, it just looks like he has like a massive dick on his forehead. That's what it looks like. So it really, it's so hard for me to draw Bakugo like that. I was like, I don't want to do him dirty by drawing like. So it has to. I have to draw him from like a side-ish point, like profile view, or else it's gonna look like. I'll stop. Okay. Next submission we have from Leafy. Hi Leafy. And Leafy has quite a few questions. So your first question is, I know it's probably not that original, but I'm wondering what your opinions are on Naruto Shippuden and Boruto. Okay, so this goes back to my past, I guess, like my childhood. So my first anime, surprisingly, is not Sailor Moon. My first anime is actually, and then this is like putting Pokemon aside, right? I actually even barely watched Pokemon. My first anime that I followed was Mermaid Melody, and then after Mermaid Melody, it was Naruto. And I started Naruto when I was like 10 years old, and at the time it was just like my obsession. It's like kind of like brought me into this world of fiction, like this whole fantasy, and then kind of like opened my world up entirely. And needless to say, I really liked Naruto, and I went on to watch Shippuden. And I'm gonna be honest, I actually enjoyed a lot of the fillers for Naruto, but not Naruto Shippuden, like Naruto itself. You know how in Naruto manga, like it technically ends after Sasuke leaves the village, but in the anime it continues and continues and continues for a long ass time until Naruto also leaves the village to go train with Jiraiya. And I did not know that because at the time I didn't read the manga, I just kept watching the anime, and all the fillers, I really enjoyed it. I genuinely enjoyed a lot of the fillers in Naruto. And then in Naruto Shippuden, I started reading the manga as well. And then I realized, oh holy shit, there's a lot of fillers. And then I feel like a lot of the Naruto Shippuden fillers are very, especially towards the end, because towards the end the anime was getting really close to the manga, right? And so they had to put like a lot of fillers in, and then the filler quality just like went drastically down. Like a lot of the episodes don't even make that much sense anymore, and it's just like so I've skipped a lot of the fillers in Shippuden. But overall I really liked it. I also really liked Naruto movies. They're really good. Boruto, I have mixed feelings about Boruto. Mainly because like it's like not even that the anime is bad. Like the anime, like I don't. So the thing is, I don't want to bash Boruto because I didn't watch a lot of it. I watched like a few episodes, and then I just like decided not to. Cause first of all, I feel like the animation quality for Boruto, like a lot of the places were low budget, so it wasn't that great. Another thing is because there's definitely like a generation gap. Boruto definitely resonates more with the modern 10-year-olds. Like Naruto at the time, it really, it really hit me because like at the time, like the society was different, our values were different. And so the kids were also very different. And so Naruto at the time just really hit home with the kids of that generation. And Boruto right now, to me, like at least when he first started off in the anime, just really struck me as a brat. Like I didn't really like him. But I feel like Boruto probably relates a lot to the younger kids in this generation, because when I was like around 10, 12 years old, we didn't have a lot of electronics to play, or at least they were there, but it just wasn't like as accessible as it is nowadays. Whereas in Boruto, you can see like when it starts off, like Boruto literally has this like ninja version of like a Game Boy or whatever, like DS. No, actually, it's like what do you guys have nowadays? Like Switch, right? Like like you guys can tell I don't really play games because I'm just like naming off all the old stuff, and this is really like giving away my age. But yeah, he kind of has like this ninja version of a Switch, and which is just like kids nowadays. They like have so much electronics in their hand, and it's just like kind of like cheats his way into ninja-ing, which is kind of like what kids do nowadays. They have so much electronics, and then basically like they have so much to access, and then they kind of don't have to put in as much effort as we used to do. Which is, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying like always use technology. Technology is there to make your life easier. But I'm just saying it's like for older people watching this, sometimes we just feel like, oh no, he's like taking it easy. Like he has the easy way, right? So yeah, I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but Boruto is probably just not for my generation anymore, and I feel old now saying this. And also the fact that I saw a lot of spoilers for that, and then the fact that Gaara was done so dirty with like his new design, and also Neji is not there anymore. Like, what's the point of watching Boruto if like all my favorite characters are like either dead or done dirty, right? So yeah, no. Yeah. Anyways, and your second question is also, who's your favorite character from the Naruto series and why? I have a feeling it's Gaara. Well, you know me very well. And yes, I've answered this question like a few minutes ago. But yeah, my favorite character is Gaara, and I feel like, yeah, you've read me pretty well. Yeah, how'd you guess? Finally, what do you enjoy making? Making/receiving more? Fluffy content or spicy content? I think as of now, I actually enjoy making fluffy content a little more-ish. Mainly because I'm kind of dry on spicy content. Like, personally, me. Like, I'm a little bit running out of juices. And, it's like, because here's the thing about spicy content. It's like, there's only so much you can do in the bedroom. And, like, a lot of the characters, like at this point, a lot of the characters, what they like in the bedroom will start repeating themselves. Like they will start repeating other characters, and I feel like that you know, even though it's like spicy to imagine, sometimes I feel like as a creator, I feel like I'm just going around saying the same thing over and over again, and that's not really exactly that fun, I guess. It's more like I want to explore some things new, but you know, it's like I've only had so much experience, which is like very little. Yeah, fun fact about me, I have had very little experience in the bedroom. So a lot of the things that I make, like the headcanons, also comes from me reading stories and watching things like hentai anime. Yeah, and reading a lot of like doujinshis. I read a shit ton of bakuteku doujinshis, and those help me a lot, you know, like they inform me about a lot of things that you can do in the bedroom. But at this point, I kind of feel like it would definitely be much more doable to make more fluffy stuff, and just like that would definitely bring so much more variety into my channel rather than making like a lot more spicy content. But I like receiving spicy contents too. I definitely hope you guys can send me like more of your spicy headcanons, you know, and that way, you know, we can share those in these monthly podcasts and I could put in less work. No, I'm just kidding. I do like making spicy headcanons, but sometimes it's just really difficult for me to think of new things, I guess, to say. And yeah, so I'm just afraid that I'm always like repeating myself and not giving you guys enough variety. So that's just something I'm scared of as a creator. But I do enjoy making it, you know, and I won't stop making them. A lot of the characters also I have a hard time just trying to imagine them in that way because I don't like personally simp for them. So yeah, and so I might actually start repeating a lot of the characters that I've already done just for the sake of it, you know. And also, you guys, in this month's podcast, you did remind me that, you know, I haven't done a lot of aftercare headcanons or situational headcanons. So yeah, I think I might want to start putting those out there as well. So yeah. And then you also have like a message for me. I haven't posted any comments on your channel, but I want you to know that I love the stuff you put out. I found myself doing Dabi's lines in your Dabi fanfiction because I was so engrossed in the story. It helps that I can do a pretty good impression of Dabi. Love your content and keep up the great work. Oh my god! Thank you. And if you can do a great Dabi impression, I would love to hear it, you know. It's just like Leafy, right? You know, like because like my voice is very feminine, right? And I, unlike a lot of other creators out there who can make themselves sound like a guy, I can't do that. So if I can, you know, work together with someone who can and kind of like bring life into my stories that need like guy voices, I would love to work together. So if anybody out there can like make a good impression of like male voices, you know, message me, email me, DM me, you know, I'd love to work together. So thank you. Alright, I think we have one more submission left from Marcy Kim. Yes. And honestly, Marcy is she's always in the comments, and I think Marcy is a her. I'm sorry if I assumed your gender. So Marcy is, you know, always commenting, and they make me feel so like appreciated, and I'm really grateful to Marcy because, you know, you're always there in the comments like hyping me up, encouraging me, and I'm so excited to see what you have for me. So you have a BNHA aged up Eijiro Kirishima headcanon. Ooh, aged up is always good, you know what's coming. This is quite long, so I'm sorry if I like stutter in between. I'm really bad at actually reading things aloud, so alright, here we go. Kiri is just a real knight in shining armor. Yes he is. He's the type of guy that's a protector, a motivator. Yes, indeed. He doesn't let you give up easily, and he's always your number one fan. You usually call him your super supporter. Kiri also gives the best hugs and kisses. Of course he does. You know, he's Kiri, right? Okay, moving on. Like he'll just envelop you in a way that always makes you feel warm and safe. And he kisses, and his kisses will make you melt. Yes, they will. They will make you melt. Actually, let me make this bigger because the words are like too tiny for me right now. Sorry. I'm like totally cutting this off right now. How do I make this bigger? Like make the font bigger so I can read better. Thank you. Okay, where was I? His kisses will make you melt. So when you show your appreciation, it's super special to him. Aww. He likes the head and back rubs. He likes the cuddles. He really appreciates when you give him cute random kisses or hold his hand when you're both out. He likes it if you style his hair, and he likes when you guys can hold conversations about the latest comics or the new Crimson Riot or All Might merch that's going to drop. Yes! Oh my god, Fanboy Kiri is just like, yes, right? I love the idea of Fanboy Kiri. Anyways, continuing. He appreciates the little things like when you welcome him home or when you make his favorite meat dish, and he likes seeing you take charge in certain situations. It's a turn on. Ooh. Yes, I think so too. He's just the kind of guy who knows how to cherish what he has, so just cherish him too. Yes, I will like hunt you down and kill you if you don't cherish Kirishima. Like, it's just like, oh my god, I'm saying this as if he really exists in real life. Like, if you were Kiri's lover and you ever dare to hurt him, then I will hunt you down, and no matter where you are, I will hunt you down in your sleep, and I will literally put a knife in your throat. Okay, that was a little dark. But yes, Kiri is just like that character that is just like so underappreciated, right? He's just such like an awesome and manly guy, you know, manly as in he's responsible and he's supportive, and I feel like everything he does is just like manly. Like, you know, he's obviously obsessed with being manly, but he really does a good job at being manly, and I think that Kiri is just probably like my ideal type for a real life guy, you know, like a guy in real life. But obviously you guys know my favorite character is Bakugo, but obviously I'm not gonna meet a blonde, ash blonde, spiky haired guy with red eyes who is like has a superiority complex and then realizes he's not the shit anymore, and then has to go through this entire journey of finding like his own purpose and kind of like going his way to be number one. No, I'm not gonna meet a real life guy like that. So I think Kiri is definitely my standard for like a real life guy, which is still very difficult for real life people, but like Kiri is just so cute and amazing, and I think he definitely has a lot of insecurities, and because of that, you know, he knows how to comfort you. So yeah, I love Kiri so much, and thank you so much, Marcy. This is great. Honestly, this is amazing. Let me just like make a comment about not to you, Marcy, not to you, just like in general to people who are sending me stuff. And Marcy did a really good job with you know, punctuation, capitalizing each letter in the new sentence, putting commas, and that really helps me reading this, so I know where to pause. Some of you guys, when you guys send like headcanons, when you're typing them out, you sometimes, maybe you're typing on your phone or maybe you're typing too fast, you kind of like just don't put periods or don't put commas, and so that as a reader for me is going to be a little bit difficult, because I'm going to find it a little difficult to know where to pause and breathe, and sometimes I'm just like spouting like out, and then marching forward with my words, and then sometimes I don't pause where I'm supposed to, and then I just connect clauses that I'm not supposed to connect. So when you guys in the future submit to me like headcanons and stuff like that, it would be really helpful if you could also, you know, kind of like punctuate your sentences properly, and that really helps me as a reader, and that will help me read your headcanon in a better way, you know, a way that helps so other people to, you know, enjoy it better. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, Marcy, and thank you so much for this long but amazing headcanon, and thank you so much for like punctuating and capitalizing your letters and stuff, and this is honestly just more than I can ask for. Thank you so much. Before I get to your question and message, I'm going to read your second headcanon, which is for Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Right? Okay, yeah, let me check. Okay, yeah, it's for Gojo. Okay, so the headcanon is... Hold up. Let me just like... Why is this... Sorry, I'm like on a spreadsheet right now, and this spreadsheet is like giving me such a hard time. Cause like, Alright, let me just like move this. Oh, right. It's because of that. Yeah. Okay, now I can read it. Okay, cool. Alright. Gojo is the type of person that has many facades. Yes. I know that. I see that. Yeah. But continuing. You can't tell what's in his heart. Nope. No, you can't. He's always smiling that sly smile and joking around, which makes you want to do your best in uncovering the type of man he is. You just read everything that I wanted to say in my fanfiction. Okay. Anyways, continuing. You think if he wasn't a Jujutsu sorcerer, he'd definitely be an actor. I never really thought about that, but you're right, he definitely could be. And he's also super hot. A popular one at that. He'd rise to all the lead roles and with his boyish charms and his charisma, but most of the time, you'd want to see the real him. He's always strong for you. He's always unbeatable. So whenever you're in a situation where you glimpse a very serious expression or see him in shock or see tears well in his eyes, it's a very rare phenomenon, of course, when he portrays actual sadness. It's like you feel relieved because it shows that he's vulnerable and he trusts you enough to be vulnerable in your presence. He's letting you in past the smiles, past the jokes and the silliness. He's showing you his layers, and because God knows there are layers to this man. Oh my god, you're breaking my heart. You know, just imagining Gojo like show this kind of sadness to me is like heartbreaking, because I know like if he shows that, it must be really devastating. Okay, continuing. He's one of the strongest Jujutsu sorcerers there is. Canonically, yes. One of the best, but being able to even catch a glimpse of his true emotions and feelings fills you with the need to appreciate whenever he lets down his barrier, because he's human. He's warm and his heart beats the same way yours does, and when he sees that you're accepting of him, he feels more comfortable and at ease to share even more moments with you. Oh my god. This is just so heartbreaking to think about, you know? Because like Gojo is just, he's such like a cheerful character on the outside, but then on the inside I feel like he's very, very empty, and I feel like I can never do a really good job at explaining the characters, but I know someone can, and this, you know, I'm gonna be doing a free advertisement for one of my favorite YouTubers, Ohara. You guys should totally check him out. he does a really good job at analyzing characters. And I watched all his like Jujutsu Kaisen character analysis like videos. You guys should totally watch him. He does such a good job in explaining like the inner mentality of Gojo, and Gojo is just like a really empty character on the inside, and I feel like he feels a great distance between himself and the other people and the people around him. And so that, you know, I feel like it's going to be very hard for him to be attached to anyone really. And so, which is why he's always showing that fake, like, cheerful facade to people. And I just, yeah, you're absolutely right, Marcy. I would feel so relieved if he would cry in front of me. Yeah, thank you so much for making me want to cry, Marcy. Huh? Like, how could you do this to me? I thought this was supposed to be a happy headcanon, but no, you just like make me feel emotional right now, cause like, oh my god, Gojo deserves so much more. Okay, moving on to your question. Let me just like breathe. Okay, cool. Alright, moving on. So for your question, we have, hi Ada, genuinely curious, and I hope you don't find this intrusive. I found your channel last year, so I don't know, but have you shared your identity? I'm curious about how you look. I'm going to be very honest, by your beautiful, lovely voice, I had a hunch you were of Asian descent. I hope that doesn't make me sound weird. I really admire your voice. I keep imagining what you would look like visually, so my question is, when will Ada face reveal? If you don't feel comfortable, that's fine, and if you are a non, that's fine. If you keep an air of mystery, that's cool too, but I was genuinely curious. I feel like if I could put a face to your lovely voice and name, I'd be more smitten by you. Aww. Thank you, Marcy. Yes, I am Asian. I'm actually ethnically Chinese. I was born and raised in America. My parents are from China. And about why I don't show my face on this channel, so no, I have never shown my face on this channel before. The reason is very simple, I guess. It's because I look ugly, and no. Actually, that's like okay. So I'm actually really confident in my visuals, right? I'm actually very confident in my visuals. But the thing is, I'm lazy as, you know, like I'm trying not to swear as much on the podcast, but like I'm just freaking lazy. And so every day I'm literally just in my pajamas. My hair is a mess. I don't do my makeup, and ever since like COVID started, you know, like that I didn't have to go out, I like rarely even pluck my brows anymore. Right? So it's just like, although I have a confidence in my visual aesthetics, but it's just like you know, like any other girl out there, I want to look presentable when I'm presenting myself, but it's just like I'm too lazy to make myself presentable. And so that's like the main reason why I don't like showing my face, is because I'm not presentable enough. You know, so like yeah, that's the main reason. Another thing is, when I first started this channel, I didn't want people who know me to find this channel, and the reason obviously is because I do a lot of NSFW stuff on this, and the reason why I didn't want a lot of people who know me like personally to find this channel isn't really because I'm like embarrassed about this or anything. It's just awkward, right? Because a lot of people that know me in real life, like we are really close friends, and we've like grown up with each other, and so we kind of like were innocent together, like in that innocent phase. So you know, there are some people out there, it's just like if they've known you since you were like in that phase, it's kind of like weird for them to see you in like, you know, another way, right? Like for me, if I were to talk to like my best friend, like my best childhood friend, about like her sex life, I would find that personally a little weird, because I've known her since she was like 2, right? And so just like the idea of that is really weird. So there are definitely a lot of people in my life, around me that I just like feel like I don't want to give off, like I don't want to like ruin their image of me. I guess because you know, growing up I was actually a very goody two shoes kind of person, so a lot of people, and I was actually very innocent up until like high school, so like mid high school, late high schoolish, so like I feel like it's really difficult to like ruin that image with some people, and like it's mainly like with people that I'm like with my best friend, like she knows even though she doesn't feel comfortable with it, like she knows, but like with like some people that I just like we were close friends but we haven't really like interacted in a while, you know, those kind of people who like it's just weird if they stumble across and they're like, oh my god, Ada, like I didn't know you turned out to be like such a whore. Right? So yeah, that's the main reason why I don't like showing my face or talking about myself, is like I'm afraid of people, you know, finding me. But recently it's like I have this regret because I showed my mom my channel, like mainly showing her my art stuff, right? And I also showed her my Mikey fanfiction, which she really liked. Even though the thing about my Mikey fanfic is I only showed her the part where I was like coughing up blood and like, you know, that kind of stuff. I kind of like skipped the part that with the kissing noises. And so she thinks that's what I do on my channel, just drawing and like fanfiction. And then she started like telling everyone, well, every one of her friends, that I have a YouTube channel, and she shared my YouTube channel with them, and then they shared them with their kids. They're like, oh my god, look at Ada, she's like this really successful YouTuber. I'm like, no, you do not want to share that with your friends, and I don't want to. Oh my god, like my when am I going to tell my mom that my channel is not for kids? Like probably never, but like I don't want to have this conversation with her. It's just like sure, she's not, like I'm an adult now, so like obviously it's like, you know, but it's just weird. It's just weird. And yeah, I'm kind of like expanding too much on this. And then visual wise, I guess like I feel like Kamiko is a really good like visual interpretation of myself, except for I don't really have bangs. I kind of just like have a mid part, so like my and my hair is obviously not white. My hair is not silver. It's black. I've kept it black for a while. I've always wanted to dye it silver, but the thing is I'm afraid of like killing my hair, so I don't. But like silver is like the color I wish I had, which is why from my profile picture you can see that I have a silver hair chibi girl with the mid part. That's kind of like me. And then Kamiko also has like this beauty mark on the corner, like under corner of her left eye. I also have that, so I feel, and that's like my trademark, I think. Another visual thing about me is I wear glasses. Like I used to wear contacts, right? But ever since like the pandemic, you know, and I don't have to go out anymore, I just like don't wear contacts anymore. Also because I have really bad like high astigmatism, so contacts don't exactly feel comfortable anymore for me. So in order to protect my eyes, I wear generally just wear glasses. And yeah, so I guess that's that. When will I face reveal? I don't know. The thing about face revealing is that like once you reveal your face, people can stalk you on the internet, and I don't like that, like at all. Like one thing is like when I started, I didn't want people knowing me to find me on my YouTube channel, but that's like the least of my concern right now. The main concern that I have is with face reveal is I don't want people who don't know me to find me in real life, you know, like because just for safety reasons, right? But recently I've been playing with, you know, that there's this trend on like TikTok is like share like what would you look like on a webtoon, and there's like this prequel app where you like put in your picture and then they will show like what you look like as a webtoon. I tried that and it just like it looks pretty good, and then I kind of want to share it, but at the same time I don't really want to share what I look like, you know. So it's like, because you know I don't want people to stalk me in real life. So yeah, Also, it would suck for me if I were like, you know, because like obviously this wouldn't happen even if I put my face out there. I feel like it wouldn't happen, but like it's just like I have this fear of like walking out and I'd be like out with my family and then like someone who knows me is like, hey, are you Sasuga Ada? Oh my god, I watched like all your headcanons, and they start talking about this NSFW said headcanon with me like right in front of my parents. I'm like, no, don't pretend you don't know me. Oh no. Yeah. So yeah. But thank you so much, you know, it's just like I definitely would share my face, but it's just like I have this, you know, safety reasons for not doing it. So yeah, just like, and I think Kamiko is a very similar to me, except she's like 2D, you know, and she also has bangs. But yeah, otherwise, you know, body type wise, we're also pretty similar. Like, I feel like I don't draw her very, I feel like I drew her a little bit more like my ideal body type, but my real body type, I'm a little like rounder than her. Like, I'm a little bit more curvier. But yeah. Okay. So I hope that answers the question, and honestly, it's totally okay. Like, these questions, I don't find them intrusive at all. In fact, I find it very flattering that you guys want to get to know me. So if you guys have any like questions that, like personal questions that you want to ask me, like as long as I feel like it's safe to answer, I will answer them. Like, the only reason why I won't answer a few like a certain questions is like, you know, for safety reasons. For example, like, where do you live? Like, I can only give you like a very general like region, because I don't want people knowing where I live. These are just like safety reasons. But other than that, like, feel free to ask me, like, you know, what do you do for a living? You know, what do you do? Like, things like that. If you guys want to get to know me, I'd be more than happy to share about myself. The only reason why I don't right now is because, like, I don't know if people want to know. It's like, I don't know if it's like a necessary information. I know there are a lot of creators out there who like to share about their personal life. And on my channel, I know it's like a lot of people are here for like for the headcanons, like for the stories, you know, for the art, you know. It's like sometimes I like to think of myself as just like a content creator and less like, so I feel like if I put a lot of like my personal life out there, I would feel more like an influencer, but that's not something where I'm trying to go for, because I don't want to influence the way people think, right? I just want to be like your neighborhood friendly little NSFW like perverted oneshan. That's kind of what I am. That's kind of the thing I'm going for. So just think of me as that, you know. But if you guys do want to get to know some of like my personal stuff, you know, feel free to always like send these questions to me and for the podcast, and I would answer them in the podcast, right? And even in like certain lives where I'm like drawing, usually in my drawing lives, I prefer if you guys would just ask me like drawing related questions, and so I can just answer that and then leave all the personal stuff for the podcast, because obviously we need more content for podcasts. So yeah, so I'm totally happy to get to know you guys and for you guys to get to know me. So like, send me things about you in the comments or in the messages, and then you can also ask me personal things. All okay, not intrusive at all, you know. Just don't ask me where I live. Yeah. Okay. And then for your message. Hi Ada, I'd like to think of myself as one of your trusty followers. Yes you are. And I really love you for that. And thank you so much. I'm so grateful. As well as an admirer of your work. Stop. So flattering. When I started to follow you, I always wondered what were headcanons, and I started to pay attention to them when I found your channel. Since then, I've been exploring and learning about things that make me happy, since I'm in a time of constant stress. Oh no, I hope everything's like works out for you, okay? Don't be stressed out, you know, relax. Always remember to breathe and relax. You do not know how much you and your channel have helped to bring me joy and plastering a smile on my face. Oh, I'm so happy. That's the purpose. That's what keeps me going. I told myself I'll always try to keep up with what you do and comment, because I would also like to contribute to you having a laugh, smiling, or having a better day, because you do the same for me and many others with your content. Hearing your voice is such a treat to me, and you sharing bits and pieces of your life makes me feel like I'm getting to know you better. Though you're still a mystery visual-wise, I honestly don't know who you are as a person, but I know that you're doing an amazing thing by taking time out of your day to feed us with quality headcanon content, as well as your art that you're evolving day by day. Yes, thank you so much. It's so heartwarming and flattering to know that you guys like see that my art is evolving. It's just like I'm still in that stage where I'm trying to perfect my art, but thank you so much. This means so much to me, and like I'm so glad that I can, put a smile on your face. And Marcy, your comments and like interacting with my channel is always putting a smile on my face. You always make my day. So I just want you to know that like I'm as grateful to you as you are to me. So like please just, keep interacting. I'd love to get to know you as well. Just like thank you so much, and honestly your support means the world to me. And then oh god, continuing with your message, because I totally lost where I just read. I want to say big thank you for all that you do. I love you. Oh, I love you too. Keep doing your best in your life's endeavors. Continue keeping true to who you are. Take care of yourself and stay safe. Whatever your plans for the future and for your channel, I'll definitely be there to support as long as I'm able. You're doing amazing, Ada. Oh, this makes me feel so warm on the inside. And I'm just like so grateful for this message. This is literally what keeps me going, and this is like just like honestly, there's nothing that makes me happier than the messages like this, just like feeling appreciated and feeling like someone out there actually enjoys what I'm doing. That means the world to me. And thank you, Marcy. Like you and your comments and everything that you have been doing for me means the world to me, and I'm so grateful to that. In the future, I definitely do want to share more about like my personal life, things that's going on with me and what I do, and it's just like, yeah, it's just amazing to be able to like, because right now in the middle of a pandemic, it's really hard to interact with a lot of people, and a lot of my friends are either working as well or still in school, it's really hard to see them. So it's really nice to be able to interact with people, even though it's only like on the internet, like through this way, but it makes me really happy. So thank you guys so much.
さすがエダ、仕事中。
So this is like a free talk corner where I kind of talk about like what I worked on this month, what are some goals, some plans for the future, and just like anything that I want to talk about like today in this podcast. So regarding like the goals of the like I guess plans for the future, I guess. So I think you guys all know that I kind of started this like mercenary AU kind of thing going on. So I do kind of want to start making more comics kind of thing, mainly because that has always been like a dream of mine. Like ever since I was little, I've always wanted to make my own little manga, but obviously I don't really have any original stories. So I kind of want to make like combine like my fan fiction and my art together and make them into like a little doujinshi featuring my OC and Bakugo. So that's just something that I've always really wanted to do, and I've finally had the time and like the resources to kind of like sit down and do that now. And like I know back in January, December-ish, I said I wanted to make like a lot of like different OCs that to like pair up with other like characters other than like so I can use like not just Kamiko, right? The problem with that is like soon after I said that, so remember how I used kind of like the winter break-ish, like the Christmas up to New Year's kind of time, like in that time I used kind of like that time to make the OCs. And then basically like right after New Year's I got super busy. So you can kind of tell by like the lack of Valentine's Day headcanons that I literally didn't even have time to make a lot of headcanons. I didn't make as many as I hoped I would. And the original plan was to use those OCs in my Valentine's Day headcanon videos as doodles, but because I got so busy with work that I didn't have time to sit down and make those doodles anymore. Instead, I was all caught up with like the other arts that I was making for like Chinese New Year and the other stuff, that I was more motivated to do. So, if like a lot of the things that I do really comes down to motivation, like I'm the kind of person that's like, if I think of something and I really like that idea, I immediately do it. I don't even I won't like put it to the side. So if I get like caught up with something, I'll literally like push everything to the side, even like my original plans, I'll put those to the side to work on the thing that I, just came up, this great idea. And so, which is why after I made these OCs, I was flooded with all these other ideas that that these OC plans of mine just got pushed back. And so at this point, it's like a lot of my plans for them, weren't able to be, carried out, right? And then there's also another thing, is like, originally these OCs were also created in case I find these cool TikTok audios, kind of similar to the one that I did of Kazuya and Toji. Kind of like if I find an audio that I feel like fits this certain character and I want like to have like kind of like a YN representative go with it, I would choose a YN representative that I feel like would fit that audio. And for the Kazuya one, I felt like Kazuya would say something like that, so which is why I used Kazuya for that and didn't use Kamiko. In the future, it's like when I find audios that suit a certain OC, I'll definitely make videos for that OC. Which is why, but like when it comes to Bakugo, it's like, it's different. Bakugo and Dabi and okay, so there are 4 characters that I kind of like hog, which is, I guess it's not a good thing, but at the same time, this is kind of like my channel, so I can do whatever I want. Mainly, it's like I can't, like, I'm just that selfish, right? I can't draw them with like other OCs, right? I just kind of like have to hog them to myself. And these 4 characters obviously include Bakugo, Dabi, Hawks, and Todoroki. They're like my 4 husbandos. So if I ever draw, like art for them, it's always gonna be with Kamiko. It's like I'm probably never going to hand them over to the other OCs, which is really sad, but it's okay, because Kamiko also has a guy version as well. His name is Kamito. I will rarely draw him though. So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, that's the mercenary AU. And another thing about the mercenary AU is that I have to clarify that the AU idea isn't really original. It was heavily inspired by Natsuki Kizu's battle deployment Haikyuu Dojinshi. And if you guys haven't checked it out, you should totally check it out. It's so good. It's like, it features Iwaoi, and it is just like, the best doujinshi I've ever read. It's so good. And it doesn't really have a plot, but the AU idea is like amazing, which is why I kind of like stole that idea. And I do have to give Natsuki Kizu credit for that, because it's so heavily inspired by their original, or not original, but like their doujinshi. So yeah, that's that. And I do want to focus on the manga a little bit more, and then when I have time, like I still want to make more of the ancient Chinese AU, like kind of, I guess, like for different characters they might be like headshots, or they might like be full body pictures, you know, like just you know, those kind of like colored drawings. I really want to do that too. I think the main thing that I really want to do right now is just make more art content, because I'm kind of in a writer's block when it comes to fan fiction. And also it's like recently, because like in my personal life at work, we have gotten busier, so it has gotten harder for me to really come up with like new story ideas. You know, a lot of the story ideas I have been like there for a while, and so, you know, which is how I've been incorporating it with the Mercenary AU right now. Let's see. And so yeah, I think that really concludes kind of like my plans so far. And in the future, I really do want to feature my other OCs a little more. I'm definitely going to include them in the Mercenary AU as part of Kamiko's squad, because she's part of Squad C. And in the canon BNHA, you really don't get to see many of Class C's student other than Shinso, so which is why I feel like there's space for them in that squad. Okay, moving on. Since this is like my free talk corner, I feel like I kind of have the liberty to kind of talk a little bit about, you know, things that I want to talk about. And every month, you know, starting from January, because January was the New Year, new content, right? I talked about like the content that I wanted to add. This month, I kind of want to talk a little bit about something that has been a little bit bothering me, something that I should have talked about like a while ago, but really put it off. And it's also not something that so it's something that I kind of want to talk about, but also kind of wanted to avoid for the longest time, because this argument is so pointless and so and it's never going to end, right? It's pointless and it's going to be endless, and I don't think I can solve it, but I still feel like I should put my opinion out there, just so that when I make future videos that might seem a little bit controversial, you know, people will understand kind of like what's going on in my head when I make those kind of content. You know what I mean? So, which is why what I want to talk about is the sexualization of canonically minor characters. So if you're not new to my channel, essentially you would know that I've been making a lot of spicy headcanons, which include a lot of, or is actually consisting a majority of, you know, canonically underaged characters. And I guess what I really wanted to talk about is not essentially like a justification for all of that, but more like just explaining what goes on in my head when I make like those kind of headcanons, and kind of like my opinion on this whole argument that's been going on the internet for the longest time. And honestly, if you disagree with me, that's totally fine, but if you're like watching this podcast, most likely you know, don't disagree with me, because otherwise I don't understand why you would be watching this podcast in the first place, right? So I just like kind of want to put it out there that, first of all, you know, it's totally understandable and okay if you guys feel uncomfortable with the sexualization of fictional characters, like regardless of their age, you know. If you feel like it's wrong to sexualize them because they're minor, or you just feel like it's wrong to sexualize them whatsoever, you know, it's just like whatever, right? Everyone has their own opinions, and agree to disagree, right? In my case, obviously, you know me, right? Like, I think it's because that they're fake, like because that they're fictional, I feel like I can do whatever with them, which includes sexualizing them. And like the fact that they are canonically minor characters doesn't really affect me, you know, because they are fake. And the fact that they are fictional means that even though right now, like in the canon work, they are 16, 17, or maybe even 15, but in my writing, they can be 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever age I want them to be. So the fact that they are fictional just means that you can do so much with them and get away with it, because you can make them whatever age you want them to be. And that's just not the liberty that you have with real life people, right? You can't just suddenly age someone up, and right? That's just wrong, first of all. And it's just like, and another thing is that a lot of people think that people who simp for canonically underage characters, you know, would essentially be child predators, and that is just not true, because most of us are able to separate fiction from reality. And if you're not able to do that, then you got issues. And most of the people who make those kind of comments probably are people who cannot separate fiction from reality, and that's kind of sad. For me, I do a very good job separating fiction from reality. As much as I live in my own little fictional world, I like to keep it separate from my real life, you know, environment that I'm in. And so with that, I kind of want to get into the main argument of kind of like what goes on in my head when I make this kind of headcanons. So in my headcanons, my characters are all aged up to at least past drinking age, like legal drinking age, wherever the legal drinking age is in your country. In America, it's 21, so, you know, I usually think of them as 21 and older, you know, but it's like their age is really like free for interpretation, for like whichever country my listener is in. And also for the fluffy headcanons, relationship headcanons, those usually kind of vary, I guess, like depending on like certain headcanon situations that I'm imagining them in. Sometimes I'm imagining them as like adults, like married life. Sometimes I'm just imagining them as like the canon, like school life, you know, that kind of varies. But spicy headcanons generally, or not generally, like they're definitely, you know, definitely imagine them as adults. And that's not something that I specify in the video, but it's always in my description. The reason why I don't specify it in the video is because, first of all, there's no time to, like, I'm trying to fit like all the headcanons within a minute, right? And so there's really no time to add like, oh, by the way, these are all like adult characters. And like visually, I also don't want to like try to find a space to put kind of like that kind of like words, like put them in words somewhere on the video. It's just like, it's just not visually like appealing, right? So I don't put it on there. And then a lot of people also have the argument that says like, oh, because I have the pictures of them as minors on the video, then I should be talking about them as a minor. But that's not true. The reason why I use those pictures are because they're official art. I'm just so lazy, so I don't want to go out and use some other people's fan art and then have to go and get their permission and write all these credits and stuff and link to their channels or like Instagrams or whatever. That's just too much work for me. And obviously I don't have enough time to draw an adult version of every single character I make a spicy headcanon for. So, which is why for me it's just the easiest to use official art. So, I hope that kind of answers the question of why, I use pictures of them as minors on the spicy headcanon videos. It's not because I imagine them as minors. If there were adult pictures of them, I would use it, but there are none, like official art. And then maybe some of them would be, for example, spoiler alert, Haikyuu. Like, I technically could, but that will contain a lot of spoilers for, people. So, which is why that I also tend to use official art, So yeah, that is that. So first of all, that to summarize, all the headcanons are adults, right? Okay, that summarizes it. I think of them as adults. And then here is another point that, or at least another opinion that I have. This one might get me in trouble, I guess, is that I actually don't have a problem with like minor, like I guess underage sex in literature, essentially. So like literature including fanfiction, right? I don't generally make headcanons like that because it's really hard to explain the situation. But if it were like a fanfiction, like a long fanfiction with like a certain situation, a backstory, and like a lot of kind of like just story building up to the plot to a certain point, I feel like in literature you can get away with underage sex. Because here's the thing, it's like as much as we don't like to think about it, as much as it's like, it's not talked about enough, but underage sex is a very common thing in real life, like in any country actually. So, and literature usually is supposed to portray like things that happen in society, right? And whether they want to like portray underage sex as a good thing or bad thing is really up to the author. And personally, I wouldn't portray it as a really good thing. It would essentially be a very controversial aspect of my fanfiction if I were to write it as that. But then again, it also depends on the setting of the work. For example, if I were to set this fanfiction in like medieval times, and then the characters are like 14, 15, right? Technically in that time period, 14 and 15-year-old is adulthood. So even though right now we would consider them minors, but considering the setting of the story, it would not be underage sex, right? So I think like literature-wise, I think you can get away with it, right? Headcanon-wise, it's just too hard to explain the whole situation, which is why I feel like a lot of people, it's not that they shouldn't, it's more like to avoid, getting hated on, that they should probably rethink doing that. And that's also the reason why most people don't. But I'm just saying, if you were to like write underage sex in like a fan fiction, with proper build up and proper justification, logically, story plot wise, I think it's okay. I think it's honestly okay. I personally don't have an issue with it, and that is just me as a literature reader in general. Also, it's just like, it's really hard to explain. A lot of people, they have different views on this aspect, and a lot of people can say that it's really bad influence for people. But honestly, for me, if I were to write underage sex, I wouldn't write it as a good thing. Like consequence-wise, it would probably bring a lot of bad consequences. But is it gonna be hot? Is it gonna be like a really sexy scene? Yeah, sure. You know, because you know it's meant to be enjoyable, right? Like it's there for a reason. But would I encourage it? Definitely not. Not in my works. And I feel like as long as an author you kind of like express your opinion on this matter, like and then you like make sure that you encourage proper behavior in your work, it's fine. It's okay. That's my opinion on this matter. So I just want you guys to know that just like as a writer, I've always had an issue with people being too petty about this whole like sexualizing fictional minors kind of thing, because I feel like if you don't have controversy, it's not proper. Or I mean, like you can have proper literature without controversy, but if you don't have controversy, it's not really good literature, right? Because good literature is always consists of like controversy, right? So yeah. So if you take out all the controversy, I feel like what's the point? You know, what's the point? Yeah. So that's my opinion on writing about underage sex. Next I want to talk about like what kind of characters that I generally can make spicy headcanons for, and what kind of like what makes it possible for me. So obviously with high school characters, I feel like it's very easy for me to imagine these characters as adults, because as high school characters their personalities are already very developed. A lot of your personality trait is set very early on in your life, but up until high school you kind of go through enough in your life to essentially shape your world values, life values, and you know, essentially not much is going to change beyond that. So it's really easy for me to see Todoroki, see Bakugo, see Deku as an adult. I can easily know what kind of decisions they would make in certain situations, how they would react. You know, Todoroki, he's probably going to be dense as ever. Deku is definitely going to be a little bit more confident as an adult, but he's still gonna be nerdy as heck. And Bakugo still gonna be really loud, gonna be flamboyant. He's definitely going to tone down that like superiority complex of his, but in general I feel like they're not gonna change much, and I can argue the same for a lot of characters that are canonically high school students in anime. So like Yuji, Megumi, and like Kuroko, Akashi, and you know, like spoiler alert, Haikyuu characters do grow up, but even in the, you know, the actual Haikyuu time skip, you do see how their personalities don't essentially change much from their high school selves. So yeah, it was like, even if Haikyuu never had a time skip, I feel like my headcanons of them wouldn't have differed much, right? So yeah, would I have a different headcanon of their occupation? Most likely, but personality wise, you know, not gonna have a difference. So it's really easy for me to make spicy headcanons for Haikyuu characters. I can easily make that. High school characters easily. And then there are characters that are slightly in the younger age group. For example, Killua. Killua is a very popular request that I get. Can I make a spicy headcanon for Killua? The short answer is yes. And this yes is, am I capable of it? That is the yes. Am I going to do it? That is a maybe. It's still tentative. The reason why is for characters who are in a slightly younger age group, I usually give them the benefit of the doubt. As in, like, I assume that what they are currently, like their current state is still evolvable, right? They still have a few more years, like a few more events to happen in their life, that could shape what the kind of person they are. Killua wise, I feel like he's been through enough. He's been through enough that he could essentially grow up without much changes and just be the way he is, the way it was left off in the show. But then there could be the possibility that he goes through some other major changes that essentially change him again as a character. Because y'all know that in the beginning of Hunter x Hunter and then compared to the end of Hunter x Hunter, Killua kind of does like a 180, right? The only thing about Killua is like I can make a spicy headcanon for him, assuming that he is done changing, right? He has completed his evolution as a character and he's going to grow up the way he is right now. Then I can imagine him as an adult based on what he is right now. Is it going to be necessarily accurate? Maybe not, because there's a possibility that in the canon version he's going to change, right? But that's really none of my concern, because all I am concerned about is, can I imagine this character as an adult? And my imagination of them as an adult, what is it based on? It's going to be based on this current interpretation of them, right? Their current personality in the canon work. So, and I usually like to stay as true to them as possible, which is why people, think my headcanons are very accurate, is because I try to stay as true to their personalities as possible. And then, so I guess Killua's age group is as young as I can go, because I feel like if you go younger than that, then it's going to be really hard for me to accurately imagine them as adults. Because if you go younger than Killua, and Killua, honestly, even though he's canonically 11, 12-ish, he's been through enough that he could be an average 15-year-old. He could be compared to an average 15-year-old, right? If you go younger than that, then their personality is very underdeveloped, right? They're very childish, and a lot of the essential character trait, what makes them the character themselves, is the fact that they are a child. They are literally a child. So trying to take this child and forcibly imagining them as an adult, right? It's going to be a very childlike adult. And then but then you say, okay, let's just imagine this character, but much more mature, right? Then is it that character anymore? For me, not really. Essentially, you're just kind of taking this visual of this person, of this character, aging it up a little bit, and then changing the personality entirely, right? And then, so for me, it's a little bit fake. It's not really that character anymore. So I don't like making headcanons for characters who are overly young. And thank God that I don't get requests for those kind of characters anyways. Because just know that I'll never do those kind of characters. Killua is as far as I can go. And that's only because that he's actually a very mature 12-year-old. Normal 12-year-olds in anime probably, can't, right? No, nuh-uh. Gon is going to be very difficult, right? If I do Killua, I feel like people are going to ask me to do Gon. Gon is definitely very difficult because he's not as mature as Killua. Killua, very easy to imagine as an adult. Gon, I feel like he still has a little bit of child in him, so it's going to be much more difficult. So basically, my standard of is it possible to, make spicy headcanons is solely based on my ability to imagine them as adult characters. So if I can imagine them as an adult, yes, I can possibly do a spicy headcanon for them. Also, another thing is that I have to also be attracted to them. it's a good thing that I watched Hunter x Hunter at a really young age, and I was, really attracted to Killua as a character. And even when I was really young, I always imagined Killua, like, what would he be like as a grown-up? What would be so cool? I bet he would be so badass, right? That's always been on my mind as a kid. So even now, it's really easy for me to imagine him as an adult. But now, as a grown-up, when I watch animes with these younger characters nowadays, high schoolers, it's still a little bit easy for me because I'm like, it's only been like a few years since I graduated high school, right? And so like it's still easy for me to relate to high schoolers, but I can no longer put myself in the shoes of younger characters. So as like people grow older and older, they will be less and less like attracted, I guess, to younger characters that they are newly introduced to. So like characters that I grew up simping for, so like MHA characters, Haikyuu characters, Hunter x Hunter, Naruto, those characters I can always see like myself simping for. But new characters, so for example, let me think, which anime have I watched recently? So I guess I don't want to say Demon Slayer, because the reason why I can't really simp for Demon Slayer characters isn't really because of their age, but more because of like the time period and the art style, I guess. And also the personality traits. Like, they're just too holy, right? So it's really hard for me to like, sexualize them because they're very holy beings and I admire them. I look up to them and I feel like they're very noble characters fighting for a noble cause. So I don't want to do them dirty. I guess, let me think. A good example of characters that I probably would have been attracted to if I were a high school student, but not really attracted to anymore now that I'm an adult, I guess would be like Skatefinity, Reki, and Ranga. Like, they don't really appeal to me anymore, because I'm an adult now, and so these characters who I find still a little bit, because like as a high schooler, right, you look at these guys and you're like, oh, they're in my age group, they're normal. But now that you're older and you look at these guys and they just feel so immature, right? That's just natural. It's just natural, right? So you're no longer, it doesn't really have to do with their visual, because visual wise I still think they're really attractive. And that's the thing about anime, is like, even though they're minor characters, they're actually visually designed to be simp material. So don't worry about like simping for like a character, that's a minor just because they look hot, because they're meant to look hot, right? Okay, so it's okay to thirst for that body. It's just a design, it's just pixels, right? The only problem is if you simp for that set of personality trait that really define them as a minor, I guess, because like then you're just simping for immaturity and like vulnerableness, and that's not good, right? But simping for like the visual aspect of a hot bod, like, come on, let's talk about Baku muscles, right? How many real life minors can you find with Baku muscles? None. Literally none. Okay. Like I personally equate Bakugo's like visual aesthetic with adults. So visually I think it's okay to simp for minor characters. But personality wise, I think you should really consider it, like give it some thought, right, before you go ahead and simp for them. Because are you simping for them because they act mature and they have like very are you simping for them because they have characteristics that you like in a person in general. Like for example, Kirishima. Kirishima, very noble person, manly, definitely, you know, simpable material. But if you're simping for like a character that is very immature and very vulnerable and just like, you know, a character that is like, for example, if you simp for a character that has a Bakugo body but has the personality of Eri, that's questionable. That's honestly questionable. Personally, I wouldn't. It is very questionable. So yeah, I feel like when you guys choose for characters to simp for, definitely you have to consider their personality as well. Yeah. I think that really concludes my argument and like my opinions on the whole sexualizing minor kind of thing. And I think I did a good job like conveying my opinions and like just like how I stand in this entire whole argument thingy. And I'm not out here to change anyone's minds. I just kind of like want you guys to understand me a little more, and that way when you guys request for characters, you guys can understand what's in my comfort zone and what's not, like what's possible for me, and or like why I don't do these characters, right? So yeah, this whole entire little talk is just for in the future when you guys request characters that you guys understand me more as a creator, in case I never get to the character that you request. You know, it's not that I have an issue with you, it's just that, you know, I probably can't see the character that way. Yeah. And the thing about this free talk and this whole entire podcast is that I don't give it like a time limit, so it's very awkward. I kind of just talk until I have nothing else to talk about anymore. And so it would be nice if you guys in the future could give me some topics that you're interested in hearing about. So for example, you know, this month I talked about like sexualization of minors, right? So if you guys have any sort of topics that you want to talk about, or even if you want me to go into like an in-depth analysis of like a character's personality, if you want to like understand why I see this person as the way I see them, you know, you could definitely request that in the podcast submissions, and I can definitely go deep dive into whatever topic you want me to talk about. So that's what this podcast is essentially for. It's just for you guys to ask me questions, let me give me your headcanons, you know, let me talk about things that I usually don't talk about in my other content, right? So yeah, so I hope you guys liked this month's podcast, and I'm looking forward to next month. I'm hoping to get more submissions from you guys, and honestly, just like, don't be afraid, right? Ask me anything goes. Don't be afraid of being intrusive, right? You know, because you're not, honestly. Intrusive and offensive is very different, right? Don't be afraid to be intrusive, just don't be offensive. Okay, so thanks so much for listening, and I know this podcast is pretty long. Okay, so I want you guys to stay safe and stay simping. See you guys.